Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you have tuned into the Little Bits of Awesome podcast. And the crowd goes wild.
That's right. The wild. Oh, let's go, Pidge. Yeah. The crowd is going wild. We back. We back.
Hope that
it's a family reunion in here.
We hope that you have clapped either in your head, in your heart, or in your hands.
Please, in your heart. Clap in your heart. That's the least you could do for us. Yes.
We are back in. I know that you don't know this, but we haven't been here in 3 long weeks. Haven't recorded in 3 long weeks. So we are so happy.
And that's a first for us because we have been consistent since we started this thing every single week. But Cass, was just a world traveler or something, and thinks
I had to go on vacation.
Got to do some vacations back to back, and so it has been 3 weeks. We pre-recorded the other episodes, so we didn't want to leave you hanging. We would never want to leave you hanging.
Let me tell you,
we almost did.
We did. We almost did. I would say Pidge left you hanging definitely for like a half a day. Yeah.
He was trying to forget we exist.
He can't forget us. We haunt him.
Do you want to know what's amazing? I was in Arizona. First off,
who are you?
That over there.
Oh, that's right.
Is the one and only, the charming, charismatic, and even though she might get a word or two wrong, she's very, very smart. My sister, Emily Ingeman.
I don't get a word or two wrong. I make up my own words.
Yeah, you're the only
You're
one
welcome.
who does
I have
them
my
that
own.
way.
No. And they're my own words. I mean, somebody had to make up the word originally.
Yeah.
And I've changed a few.
Yeah, you have.
And I've stuck with it. Anyway, that's my sister Cass over there. I love her, and I hate when she leaves me for 3 long weeks. We did have a little time together in between, but it's still way too long.
So now we can hear that. And she can say, I love you so much, but do you want to know something that happens?
She forgets you even exist.
Yes.
Such a lie.
I am not kidding you. Legit, I should see how many texts went unanswered.
Really?
When I was in Hawaii.
Such
because if there's a time
difference. Oh,
yeah,
forget it. I can't do the math on that.
Well, there's a lot of time difference with Hawaii.
Right?
Like 4 or 5 hours.
Exactly. So it's like if I thought about her, I look at it, it's like the middle of the night for her. I'm like, I give up. When she gets back on my land, we'll talk.
But you want to know something? My phone has been on silent for a decade.
Yeah.
Which means text me in the middle of the night.
Oh, that's never right.
Let me know that you actually care.
Oh, stop it already. Stop it already.
But
what have I always told you that I am?
A live lover. She
Everyone,
made that up.
Take it in. I am a live lover, okay? And it's a fact.
Which means that she'll love you in person.
I get like text anxiety though. Like when you guys text me and
you don't answer
in the group and it's like, I don't have an answer for you right now.
Yeah.
And then like for the next 10 minutes, I'm like, I have to say something. I can't not say something.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't go the same way because sometimes I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? And then like Emily will be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
What does Cass think? And then like 9 years later.
So true.
Cass will be like,
aren't I pretty good in the group?
Pretty good.
Because she knew that you were on the same planet.
That
I was
is true.
on a different planet
apparently.
apparently.
Don't go out of state or else.
There you go.
You'll wait to get the live lover, and it's sweet. Let me tell you.
You are a great live lover.
Yeah.
It was, that was one of the first, feeling vacations in a very long time for me. However, when I was in Arizona, there were days where I was waking up, at 4. To start coaching at 5.
Oh, because you had to. Oh, I thought maybe you were just
because the time
off.
frame was different. Meeting people before they go to work, so it's 8 a.m. on the East Coast. So it was a little bit bonkers. Brian's mom listens to the podcast.
How lovely.
My mother-in-law. So she was
That's so
telling me,
cute.
I was laying out in the beautiful Arizona sun, and she was talking to me about one of our episodes, and it felt like we had recorded it 1 million years ago because it had only been a few weeks.
So it was one of our recent ones. What did she have to say?
And she likes it.
Not enough Pidge.
I know.
Yeah, for sure.
She's like, it's weird. It feels like it's falling short.
Because listen, those last 3, you were not, remember, you left, right at the beginning. We were see a Pidge from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Then I think the 2 other, you weren't even here. So,
You were
if you could
putting
stop
out
doing that,
fires.
we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I was all over.
Yeah. So you got to stop that.
Not vacations.
No.
You were the
Putting out
farthest
fires.
thing from vacationing. So one morning,
Yes.
I was proud of myself. I ran every single day on my trip. I don't like running outside.
And
And
pavement is just
one
not
day,
forgiving.
I tripped
Oh, no.
so did one of those like really
You
slow
went all the way
motion.
down?
Arms were swiveling. Feet were like, doof, doof, doof.
Do you scuff
Arms
the knees and the whole
circling.
thing?
I nearly dislocated my shoulder
Oh,
trying to
my
get
gosh.
me back into
Yeah.
alignment.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just, whoa.
Yeah.
And I caught myself and I just kept
Wait,
running.
so you didn't go all the way down. It was just a lot of flailing.
So
Oh,
flailing.
my gosh.
Arms, boom,
Oh,
boom,
my gosh.
boom.
Think of
The feet,
witnessing
boom,
that from
boom.
afar.
I mean,
I would have loved it.
I was really into a book I was listening to, and I just got ahead of myself,
Yeah.
apparently. We saw 2 rattlesnakes.
Ooh, no.
Mhm.
That's so scary.
2 rattlesnakes, but one of the mornings I woke up really early. It was the morning that we were leaving. I woke up at 5 because I wanted to run before we left,
Mm-hmm.
and it was dark outside.
Ooh, no, another bad thing.
I won't run in the dark.
No. I won't get the mail if it's dark outside.
I
True
won't
story.
be seen.
True story.
Yeah,
You know?
'cause Orem, Utah.
Oh, listen, I
so
have my
rough.
head on a swivel. I'm ready for an attacker, and I don't put myself in dangerous situations. One, taking the garbage out at night,
Forget
getting
it.
the mail, forget it. And then I'll double bolt that lock on my way back in. No,
She'll-
I don't.
You live in a pretty rough neighborhood.
No, it's not, but I grew up in a rough neighborhood in my younger years, and so I don't trust nobody.
That's gonna be right on our topic
Really?
today. Yeah.
Mm.
But something that happens in Arizona
Oh, the
is
creatures?
that they have javelinas.
It's true. They do.
Ooh.
Now, let me tell you what javelinas are. They are what looks like a pig
Mhm.
or a boar
Mhm.
that is the size of my ginormous dog Butters.
Seriously?
Yes.
As big as Butters.
As big as Butters.
And they wander the neighborhood?
They run in packs.
Okay, no. I would
And this is the worst
lose
part.
it.
They're not a pig.
What are they?
Also true.
They're a rodent.
Ew. Like a what? Like a large guinea pig?
yeah.
Oh,
Can you imagine? And I had this vision of me just being swarmed by a pack of javelinas, and I was like,
what are their purpose? Like, what are they out to do in that pack?
well, one thing.
Survive like animals.
I
Yeah,
know, but
like, are
it's
they
weird.
ravenous?
They look more like a pig, and they kind of act more like a pig. But
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
technically
that
in the
just
rodent
seems
family.
wrong.
But this is where the whole like, if it
Oh,
looks like a duck
interesting.
and acts like a duck, well, maybe it's a duck. But when it looks like a pig and it acts like a pig, maybe it's a javelina. And I just picture them. One night I was
They
driving.
stink too.
Ew.
They have like a scent gland. That's really stinky.
Ew, do they spray it out like a skunk kind of thing?
Not the same, but similar.
Ooh.
So this year I didn't see
can't.
them. One time I saw them and I was overcome with a very, very deep, like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, when
yeah.
fear like quivers down the body.
Oh, yeah.
There were at least 10 to 15 of them, all running alongside our car. I
Ugh.
nearly
You're just
died
driving out of the
on
neighborhood
spot.
and there's these things.
But it was late at night. They only come out at night.
Yeah, okay. So it's
They
kind of
only
like
come out
the
at night.
raccoons type of thing.
Yeah, and they eat the very pretty blossoms on like these cactus.
Ugh.
So
Oh,
yeah, it's just,
oh.
you find weird things in these different
Oh,
landscapes.
yeah.
I'm seeing rattlesnakes. I'm being attacked by javelinas in my
Oh
mind.
God, in my mind. Ooh, that's scary.
So it was absolutely wonderful. Brian has a bunch of family there, and
Okay.
yes, there they are. Look at them.
Oh my gosh.
So look how big. That's the size of Butters.
Pidge has pulled up the javelinas images.
and people hunt them. It's not a pig, a
Oh
hog.
my
No,
gosh.
it's a javelina.
Honestly, like it's fine if they're up in the wild, but like running through a neighborhood, that just seems like you're in a bad
Look
dream.
at those sharp teeth.
Oh my gosh, I'm terrified.
I will say small animals of any sort are very, very, very adorable.
no.
Can
mice.
javelinas hurt you?
Please.
Please, mice.
Sick.
Oh, man.
my gosh,
so
that's
it
sickening.
is. So vacation is over.
Mm-hmm.
I got smacked right in the face with some cold, wintry spring weather, which is odd in itself.
And terrible. I mean, yesterday was brutal.
It was
And
like
today
a
is
wind,
like kind of the aftermath of it. It's still freezing outside, but yesterday was so windy and so
Cold.
yucky. Yeah.
so cold.
Yeah.
But when we arrived at the office today,
Mm-hmm.
we were sneaking around all the offices, making a fool of ourselves as we were like tiptoeing in the
We were
crouch
trying to
position.
sneak in on you. We
I was
couldn't
hiding
find you.
upstairs.
You were. You were like,
You were
"They're
hiding.
coming."
Somebody else was in your Redfern was
Yeah.
in your office.
in your office. I
Have you
felt
know?
like
Decoy.
violated.
yeah.
Okay. It
So
was a
when
prop.
Pidge arrived,
Mm-hmm.
I felt bad because we had high-fived all the other guys, and then we saw you, and it was like almost like someone had like pulled a string, like balloons and confetti went off, and
we didn't give them quite
People
the
are jealous at
greeting.
how popular I am.
You are so popular, especially when we haven't seen you for a while. We were hugging and kind of like circling-ish. It was great.
It's like, if you are part of the Little Bits of Awesome clan, this is the greeting you get.
We love you so hard.
Fiercely.
Yep.
Fiercely.
So,
okay, would you want to know what's awesome for me? Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, you're a part of it too. So
naturally,
aside from the fact that you think that I forget you when you leave, which is partially true when I cannot calculate what time it is for you, but we were in the same place at the same time in Arizona for a couple days at a Show Up. Was it called Show Up?
Yep, it was called Show Up Summit.
Show Up Summit, which our friend Heidi Powell started a challenge group. It's a 6-week challenge, I think, maybe 8-week. I think it's an 8-week challenge. And it's a total transformation. So it's not just about the weight loss. It's not just about the food, but it's really working on yourself from the inside out and making just a complete transformation to live a healthier, happier life, which of course is 100% what we believe in, super passionate about. So we're a perfect little team, you know? So we were part of a larger team where it was Heidi and Dave Hollis and Cass and I, and Drew Manning from Fit to Fat to Fit, and
Kara Smith.
Kara Smith, who she teaches a whole course on like defending your life and
loving teenagers, which is super awesome. I want to talk about that on another episode of like that is so powerful and exactly what if your teenager needs anything right now, it is complete unconditional love from you. But we'll get into that another time.
And she talked about it today on her Instagram story about she is going to be on the side of her teenager.
Yep.
And that means like being there for them and
should
supporting them.
her.
Anyway, we'll do that another day. And then also Danielle. And she does a whole like meditation and movement through yoga and everything. So it was just kind of a great panel of people. It was a great event to be at. It was super inspiring. Just seeing people finally prioritize themselves and prioritize their health and their happiness and making great changes. And it was so awesome from start to finish. And that could be a whole episode in itself.
A couple big breakthroughs that we had with the people there is, first off, it started with the fun bus.
Party bus. The party bus.
I can't believe I wasn't.
Yeah, were you jealous?
I know. We should have had you come make a cameo.
Listen,
we were like,
that would be awesome. Maybe we'll do a little bits of awesome party bus one time.
Fun bus.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Okay, wait, hold up. We need to do some sort of event at some point. And there will be a party bus.
Yeah, there will.
Okay.
And there will be lots of, I was really working on my fishing technique and like trying to fish people up.
Yeah.
And this one lady was not giving it to me.
Yeah.
And I just look them right in the eyes and, hey, I'm fishing for you. Come on. Come on. She would not get up.
She's not taking the bait.
She was not biting at all.
She was not at all.
Yeah.
So then.
Should have tried the lasso move.
Ooh. Next time. If the fishing doesn't work, then you got to lasso them
I should have lassoed. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That one's a great one.
I've done the lasso.
But the fishing normally works that she stops there, but it didn't. So
yeah, I had to go with a stronger cord, you know?
Yeah.
So she finally started dancing, and it was like the next day that she shared with us that she had something very traumatic happen with her daughter, with her family, and she's like, I honestly didn't know if I could find joy. And she's like, and you were fishing for me, and you were fishing for me, and I wasn't giving it to you, and I finally got up and I was dancing.
That's shocking that that's actually the same woman when you think about it. From the party bus, then I sat next to her at dinner that night. There was like a VIP dinner, and we sat next to each other and got to know her really well. And then she attended our class, like the next day or the day after. I can't remember. She might have been at the last class, right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I thought you meant from dinner. Was it the next day?
No.
Or
like,
was it the day after?
There were 2 classes. The next one, there was one the next day and then the following day. And I can't remember which class she was in. I think she was in our last class. But anyway, like watching her kind of come alive. Was pretty powerful.
And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned, I could say we learned when we were going through all that sadness with Dad, is that you feel like you have to pick one or the other.
Be happy or be sad.
happy or be miserable. Be grieving or find joy. And there is a place for both. And life oftentimes gives you both. You know, you can be seeing, how many times is it that you were at a funeral and then somebody also is having a baby or announces that they're having a baby? Like, that is kind of like the cycle of life. And she was finding that. She was finding that she could be in a state of such grief and sadness and pain and also allow for there to be space for joy and self-acceptance and self-growth, because she had so many times talked herself out of going to the Show Up Summit because it just seemed like her plate was too full. And we can get a bigger plate. Like, you're not always stuck with that size of plate. You feel like, oh my gosh, my plate's too full. But sometimes you can expand and you can add, you can make space for those great things that you know you're going to be learning and better on the other side.
Well, and the truth is, when you are in that sad, hard, scary, devastating place, you have to just keep going through the motions of the things that typically bring you happiness to be strong enough to get through it, you know? And the more you do that and the more you stick to those little things that are prioritizing your health and happiness will help you get through that much more. I mean, you just really can't do it without the other. Or you stay in that place and become depressed and it just cripples you, you know? So it was cool to see that she actually went, because she was in the challenge already and she'd learned these great things. Then this hard thing happened. Then she wanted to just bail out and kind of forget all the things that she was doing that was making her so happy, you know? And so I was so happy to know that she stuck with it, you know, and was grateful and knows now that, like, she's better for being there and can go home and deal with the things that she's dealing with that she'll have to deal with for a long time. But she'll be, because she's learning these tools and prioritizing herself and her happiness and her health, she'll be able to be a strength to her family and also for herself. So
I love it. So before we get into our quote of the day, I just want to give a special little shout out to Hella Nutrition. You guys, they have 2 new amazing products. One is Hella Good Morning and one is Hella Good Night.
I've been doing the Good Night every night.
What's in it?
So it is,
first
off, it's the creamiest, like, hot chocolate type of texture. The flavor is so spot on. And it's got a little mixture of some things, like with the Hella Good Morning, you've got some protein and collagen, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, all those good things. But it also has caffeine, natural caffeine, and then L-theanine and
the mind clarity and focus ingredient.
So in the morning, rather than dragging, like, I do love a warm drink in the morning. Usually I'm very cold. Like, it just depends. Some day I want something cold. Some days I want something warm. But this has been such a great mix up with having, like, the BCAAs and the pre-workout and just knowing that the products that you're getting from Hella Nutrition are great, clean products, and they are just so good at nailing their flavors.
So good.
So good. That mint chocolate at night.
Oh, yeah. I'm loving that. I haven't tried the Good Morning, but something that I love about a warm drink morning and night is it's kind of like a gift that you're giving yourself, because that's not something you can, like, guzzle as you're running about doing your chores.
Slow down.
You have to slow down, and so you make it in a mug and it's warm and you have to sip on it, and so it gives you a moment to kind of slow down and, like, give yourself that little treat, whether it's starting your day and you could be listening to something positive or reading something positive while you're drinking on this Good Morning drink, and then in the evening it's the same thing. It's a nice way to relax and wind down, and there's ingredients in the nighttime one that help you
relax
sleep better. So I just think that having kind of things in your daily, like your rituals, are so important on setting the pace for the day and then ending the day with these little gifts, with these drinks.
And sometimes at night you get that sweet tooth and you're like, I could pound a whole sheet of brownies right now. And then, you know, wait a minute, I have my Hella Good Night.
That's right.
And don't forget that you can use code AWESOME anytime you're making purchases on Hella Nutrition and save.
And would they just go to, like, if they went to Instagram and they did hella.com, is it is it just?
It's at Hella Nutrition.
At Hella Nutrition on Instagram.
I'll give you the exact.
And then are they on our website on the Little Bits of Awesome?
Not yet, but they will be.
Okay, so we'll put a link up there too. But
it's hellanutrition.com, so that's easy peasy.
Okay, perfect. And then use code AWESOME to get the discount.
Yep, and then Hella_nutrition. So it is just so great. On the Hella Good Night, it has calm mind, restful recovery, deep sleep, satisfy your cravings. So a lot of their products are designed for people that are moving their body. And you're exactly right, where when you put things into like your everyday rituals, it's something that you get excited. You're doing your workout. I don't know if you guys have tuned in, but we have launched our fitness app.
That's right.
Little Bits of Fitness. And you can go to our Instagram page and check that out as well. And the first month is $1. So here you are. You're going to be fueling yourself with positivity with the podcast. You're going to be moving your body with the fitness app where there's HIIT workouts, booty abs, also some motivation and health hacks. Then you're going to calm it down with some Hella Good Night.
There we go. I mean, think of just like the full circle there.
It is.
Just a
We've
happy,
pretty much
life.
solved
I don't even have
all
to
your
think
problems.
anymore.
No, we have
You
just
don't.
given it to you just on a silver platter. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Oh,
It's a very
Thank you.
big
you're
platter.
so welcome, Pidge.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the quote of the day.
Let's do it.
Okay, the quote of the day is unlearn the thoughts that hold you back to create the ideas that will drive you forward. Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
We all can do this. I'm going to tell you one more time.
Read it again, girl.
Unlearn the thoughts that hold you back to create the ideas that will drive you forward. So that moves us right into our topic today, because we are talking about, and we were inspired by this message or this topic at the event that we did with Heidi Powell, because there was a lot of talk about limiting beliefs. And this is, so much starts with the limiting beliefs in where we end up in life, where we're at today. And so I think it applies to absolutely every single one of us.
Do you want to know something?
Tell me.
The original steam engines, scientists used to say that the steam engine could not go past, did I write this down in my notes? That it was either, I think it was 60 miles an hour, or the human body would explode.
Huh?
Yes.
What? I don't get it. Like, you're saying if you were on the steam engine.
This is when steam engines first became a thing. The scientists behind it said you cannot go faster than 60 miles an hour because you will explode.
Oh my gosh.
So it just shows, because sometimes people are like, I don't really know how detrimental a limiting belief can be. But imagine if that belief was the one that was stuck to. There would be no planes. There would be no speed trains. There would be no vehicles. Like, you have to surpass.
The truth of the matter is they aren't real.
They're not real.
They're not fact.
Same with like the mile. They used to think that you could not get under 4 minutes on a mile, that it was impossible in the physical body. Until
you'd explode once again.
You would just combust on on the dot.
I know about exploding things within the body. Remember my buttocks?
That's
Everybody
right.
knows.
Now, she has a limiting belief now about the splits. That you will explode your buttocks.
That's right. I know. That's actually a fact. I know how to explode the buttocks.
We've proven it.
We have proven it.
How's
It is
that
fact.
feeling? It's been weeks.
Ooh, I mean, if you've seen me wiggle on this chair, I keep like extending my leg, bringing it up. Here's an interesting story, and then we're going to dial into limiting beliefs. But on the plane coming home from Arizona, I wiggle a lot, right? Because I'm adjusting the leg, extending it, bringing it up, like I'm just trying to get comfortable. And I apologized to the lady next to me. I said, I'm just so sorry. I just have to move so much because I have this torn tendon that it just hurts so bad when I sit down. She goes, oh, I totally know. Where is it? And I was like, it is in my right, it's where the hamstring meets my butt on the right side. And she goes, I did the same exact thing, same side, everything. And I said, well, how'd you do it? She said, I was dancing.
Like, you ever tried to do a split on turf? And
listen,
actually.
Listen. She said, I was dancing on the countertop, she said, I'd had too much to drink. I was dancing on the countertop with my best friend, and I jumped off, and I popped into the splits. And exactly. She had done the same thing as me. And she was like, and it popped, and I just knew, like, something terrible has happened. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I know exactly the feeling. And unfortunately, she went on to tell me that it took her a year to feel better. And she did all the therapy, all the thing. And so when I came back, I had a doctor's appointment the next day because I knew I was going to need it after this event. And I told him the story, because he thought I was the only person on the planet at near my age to try to do the splits, and I said, listen, I know another
one.
She was even older.
Exactly. And he goes, well, did she tell you how long it took to get better? And I was like, yeah, she told me like a year. And he's like, see, that's why I'm trying to tell you, like, this is a slow process. Be patient with your body. We'll get you there, kind of thing. But anyway.
But before that conversation started, Emily had been looking out the window or something.
No. I'd taken a little nap at the beginning of the flight. Then there was like a sudden drop and like a scary kind of like wake everybody up or whatever. So I like look at the lady next to me, and that's when I was just like, oh my gosh, and then we started having a conversation at that point once I was awake. And she was going to show me a picture on her phone. And after we'd been talking forever, so she opened her phone, and it was just a picture of my head, on her phone, which she's adorable and such a cute lady. But while I was sleeping, she took a picture of my hair. And she was like, she just looked at me and she goes, oh, is it a perm? Is it natural? I just had to like take a picture of your hair, So I'm sure that the last thing she thought.
And then just rolled into the conversation.
She just went, we rolled right into it. I learned everything about her, but I thought that was so
she's
funny.
She's probably a listener now, so shout out to
exactly,
you, lady.
Exactly.
And welcome to the pod.
Well, that's the thing. She's adorable and so cute, and I know so much about her life now, but the last thing I'm sure she thought was that she'd open her phone, just show me what's on her camera roll.
She probably thought, I'm going to take a picture of this.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk to this chick.
Because I was asleep.
I sure am not going to be opening up my phone and showing her a picture. And I'm sure she forgot. And she was just like, oh my
gosh, there's your head.
And she just went right on to the next topic.
She just goes, oh, yeah, is it a perm? Is it natural? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's natural curly. And she's like, oh, wow. And then we moved right on. That was it.
Then there was a picture of my feet.
Yeah, I know. It was like, no. Did you ask her, what are your intentions with that picture?
Listen, I don't think she's a first,
And did you ask her, are you opposed to deleting the picture?
No. It's just my head, the back of my head. I mean, come on.
One way to ask.
So what's funny is on long flights, there was always a game that I played. Mm-hmm. I now play Woody, which is like a Tetris-y thing, but I used to play 2048.
Okay.
And I would listen to an audiobook while playing 2048 to keep myself awake if I wanted to not sleep. Mm-hmm. And I was playing it, and I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I saw that the guy next to me was like, very slowly trying to figure out how this game
kidding. He was
worked.
like, this woman's been
she
really...
She loves this game. Yeah. She did zip, 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 zip. And I was making big scores.
Oh, my gosh.
So he downloaded it, and I just saw him going so slowly. How do...
we inspire people when we don't even know it.
I mean, if we can get people to play 2048.
Some would say you're influencers.
Hey, you never know.
Not
all.
Definitely not all. Oh, we were going off today on some of the DMs we've gotten lately and the comments on our reels. Another day. Anyway.
I just got an emoji middle finger.
Yeah.
In my DMs.
Yeah.
You just flipped off the camera.
I know. Sorry about that,
Whoa.
guys. Now you know what it looks like. So back to limiting beliefs. So let me just tell you about this.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Have you ever, just for fun, tried to go on so many tangents that she finally forgets where she needs to come back to?
Oh, no.
She'll never lose her place.
Listen, I am structured.
I was letting this one continue because I was like, let's see how long it goes.
What if I just threw her and I was like, okay, back to consistency and just threw that topic out and see what she would do?
I would look at you and just be like, I'm sorry, what's happening? Listen, I make up my own language. I can't hardly speak the regular English language. But a gift that I have is I can stay with my topic.
Yes.
Best at it I've ever done.
Oh, man.
The tangents
I can't wait to get back to the topic, in fact.
But I want to go back to the limiting beliefs. So we have the steam engine.
Yes.
Now
we have the running the mile.
So In 1954, Roger Bannister, at age 25, ran the mile at 3 minutes and 59 seconds, 0.4.
Wow.
So
that's insane,
it was
actually.
believed up until that point that it could not be broken, that the human body could not do that. Now, since that time, the 4-minute barrier has been broken by 1,663 athletes, and now is the standard of professional middle distance runners in several cultures.
That's crazy.
I just want, like, there are so many things that we think cannot be done.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of those are about ourselves. I can't do that. That's just who I am. Those opportunities aren't for me. It's just too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what to do. I don't know what, the next step is. Those are all limiting beliefs. And something that you said in your quote is that if you have thoughts like those and you feel that immediate reaction of like, this thought holds me back, you can almost say it in your brain and say it out loud and see physically how it makes you feel. If it pulls you back or if it moves you forward, because it says unlearn the thoughts that hold you back to create the ideas that move you forward. When you feel excited and inspired about something and energized about it, it's much more of like an open chest and arms out and like, okay, let's figure out how this is going to happen. So you can identify your limiting beliefs by simply just repeating them and saying like, oh, that's weird. It actually makes me feel very closed. It's a very physical reaction that we have if we take time to notice them.
Well, I think we'll get into that in a few minutes too, of just like how to recognize that you have limiting beliefs, and then how do you move forward, and how do you, get rid of them? What was the word that was the quote said? To unlearn the thoughts. So what are limiting beliefs? They are limiting belief. Okay, a limiting belief is a state of mind or belief about yourself that restricts you in some way. And we all experience that, and just, I think it's just human nature. I think that we all have them.
It's a mode of protecting yourself.
It is. But there are some that are just much bigger that actually have taken some happiness away from you in your life and held you back from what you're capable of doing. So where do they start? Limiting beliefs are caused by a number of factors, but they stem from the same place, your brain's desire to protect from the pain in the future. So, like you were saying, it's your mind is trying to protect you because it knows how you felt that one time when it started, and maybe you've had little triggers that have happened along the way. And so it's doing it to protect you, but a lot of times they're lies.
Yeah.
So then it's protecting you from something you have now believed. Excuse me, Pidge. Very profound.
I thought that Pidge, I saw the sweatshirt go up.
Yeah, you thought he took flight.
I thought he was undressing.
So anyway, again, these are lies that usually we tell ourselves from an experience we have or whatever. So now our brain thinks it needs to protect us from this thing that really, if we can unlearn it, our brain can stop protecting us from it.
Or they come from things that other people say to us that we hold as true. Because if somebody said, oh, Cass, your hair is blonde, I'd be like, no, actually, you're wrong. I have very dark hair. But if they said something that was maybe more in like an insecurity area, I just might believe them.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes you can be believing something for so long that you don't even know where it originated. And sometimes you can remember the exact moment that comment stuck and you held on to it and you carried it like this heavy burden that did not allow you to move forward.
And what we noticed at this event that we were at, there was a kind of a Q&A type of section, and people were asked, like, what is their limiting belief? And people would raise their hand and they'd say it, and then they'd ask, well, where do you think that started? And a lot of times they would say, oh, my mom or my dad, and that kind of breaks my heart. And we kind of talked about this earlier. I think that is true for a lot of different people. And we were also talking about the fact that it isn't always the parent's fault. You know, sometimes parents really make some big mistakes and make some real negative impacts in the way that they raise the kids or whatever. And then there's other things where we are just young and growing and learning and aren't able to digest these things that are said, and we kind of twist them in our own mind. Then we lock them in, and then we drag them with us for the rest of time. So it isn't always that person's fault. It's really kind of how you perceived it, and then let that hold you back moving forward.
I mean, it just depends on, like, okay, how long do you want to be a victim of that? Because if you look at, like, us with mom and with dad, there's plenty of limiting beliefs we got from both. And then there's plenty of amazing things we got from both. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad. It's just, okay, but what do I want to believe moving forward? Like, I, for sure, going into marriage, felt like I was a broken person. And even called off the marriage for a short time as we were engaged. And I was like, you're crazy for wanting to marry me. Nobody that I'm genetically related to has a happy marriage or a long-lasting marriage. Everybody's gotten divorced. And I would say that could have been a limiting belief of all of us because we came from divorce. But what we did is we turned that into, hey, what we might have had as, like, marriages don't last can turn into, what do I do to make sure my marriage lasts? So it just kind of comes to a point where it's like, okay, that thought is no longer even protecting me from something. Like, I'm married now. So that's no longer serving me. I don't need that protection anymore. I decided to get married. I'm going to free that limiting belief. And like you were saying, oftentimes our limiting beliefs come from where we were developmentally, where our parents are doing things. Like, I look with my kids and I'm acting like an adult, but they're still kids digesting what I'm saying. And I see limiting beliefs already in place. And I try and talk my kids through that. And it's because your parents are so influential. So it's not like it's not your parents' fault.
Yeah.
It's just the way that parenting goes.
And I think so if you find yourself in a situation, I think the key is when you're moving into, like, well, how do we get rid of these, or even recognize that I have them and what are they? I think is if you find yourself in a place where you feel stuck, or you feel like you don't like the path that you're on, or maybe you feel anxious, like you should do more, but you can't make that step, and you tend to talk yourself out of these things, the first step in kind of overcoming and moving forward is kind of, you have to look at yourself and go, okay, this is where I'm at. What's holding me back? And go ahead.
Something that I do with my coaching clients is I categorize into, like, personal life, health, wealth, success, body image, all the, like, different categories, and just give them some time to write down and, like, really do, like, a thought dump of, like, write anything that comes to mind of negative thoughts that you have about yourself in this area. Whether it's with, like, work, like you and I have talked about how there was a limiting belief that I used to always hear that you would say about money.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was funny because we were writing down.
I was very good at being poor.
Emily would just always say, there's never enough money. There's never enough money.
Yeah.
And while that might have been how you felt, that saying that is not going to help you
bringing
find
more money.
money. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're, like, not stemmed in truth. It's just they're not useful. They kind of make you pull back rather than
repeating them
forward.
over and over again isn't
going
to change the reality.
We're writing down these limiting beliefs, and Emily's kind of, like, stuck holding the pen, and she's like, I don't know what to write. And I was like,
I'd already had one or two, but I really didn't. I didn't know where I was going with the next. But you gave me several.
I was like, I've got a few. I've got a few because you and I, we both know where we get stuck. And you helped me through some of the things that I was feeling stuck on over the weekend. And we have a very vulnerable relationship, and so
open relationship,
yes,
if you will.
And so we were like, oh yeah, but what about this? I've heard you kind of get stuck on this, or this.
Well,
used to
again,
be
it's kind of like sometimes you're unaware.
Yeah.
You're unaware of like the things that you continue to say to yourself and how that might be limiting you. So the first question is, what is getting, pitch.
It's kind of like the saying, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't,
You are right.
And it's just like, if you keep telling yourself you can't do something, then you just will never do it because you've just like already put it in your head that it's not possible.
It's absolutely true. I mean, what you believe about yourself and what you are capable of, you have to believe it or nothing will happen. Laughing?
I'm laughing at myself because I reminded me of Mom.
Yeah.
So much over the weekend. So we went on this hike called Pinnacle Peak, and it was a hot day, and Dane was like, I think I'm overheating. I think I'm just really dehydrated. Look at me, Mom, like my hands. Everything is like blood pooling, and my arms are all red.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, that sounds so much like Dane. That's
he's
funny.
so dramatic on certain things. And I channeled Mom so much, and I just said, okay, this is what you do. Whether you think you are or you aren't, you are correct. So whether you think you're really, really hot or you think you're not very hot, both will be true. So we have to focus on what we're doing for the body. Like, we're moving our body. Let's take our focus and let's bring it to gratitude to be able to move your body. Let's take it to the amazing scenery.
The more you look at the blood flow on your arms, the more great it's going to look, the more scary it's going to look.
And I remember there were days where I was so cold, and Mom would tell me, just picture like sunshine on your face, picture getting warm. So yeah, I've gotten limiting beliefs from Mom, and I've also gotten these amazing strategies
positive
of like, positive mindset.
Part of that is just the unknown, and so it's like, have you ever been on a hike, but you've like done the hike before?
Oh yeah, it's
and,
a
like,
different
the
thing.
first time you do the hike, you're just like, are we ever?
Oh my gosh!
Seriously,
and like or if somebody that's been on the hike before, like they're doing their thing, and it's like, why is this not hard for this person?
Yeah.
Like, they can't be that much more in shape than me. This is so hard, but it's because you don't know where the end is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
And because there's no end in sight.
Yeah.
The travel is like miserable. And so then you go and you do the hike, and maybe you take somebody else with you the next time, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just up around this corner. Oh yeah, it's just up around, like, and then at that point it's super easy, and the other person is like, this sucks.
I can't believe how well you do this hike, man.
Yeah.
But you have to go through the experience to.
But most of life is unknown moving forward. That's the hard part about it. But I think that's where are you focusing, right? And if you're focusing like this, I feel so out of shape. Is this hike ever going to end? You're going to start breathing heavier. You're going to start just gasping for air. Where if you start telling yourself and focus on the positive things, I think everything becomes easier. But it's overwhelming. The unknown is for everything, right? I mean, so you can't avoid it, right?
So I used to pheasant hunt with my dad a lot.
Yeah.
So that was like the thing that was like our thing. And so this last year I took my brother-in-law and my buddy with me because my dad was no longer with us. So it was funny because I always told these guys, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like my dad like knew when something sucked that like in the end it was always worth it.
Yeah.
And so you would look over at my dad, and he'd be like hiking through these like tall weeds and like the rain and the snow, and it's just nasty, and there's no birds, and it's just like, why are we out here? This is dumb. We're 5 miles in or 10 miles in, da da da. And you'd always look at him, and he'd have like a smile on his face.
Oh,
and so I was like telling these guys this story, and then the whole time I was there, we were there for 5 days. It was like it never sucked to hike. The whole time I was just like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And I'd look over at my like brother-in-law, and I'd look over at my buddy, and they're just like sweating, and they're like, wait, we're doing another like stretch? And it's like, yeah, this is like the best. And they're like, this sucks. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's like the best kind of suck. And so it's just funny because it's like it almost took him being gone to like realize that perspective, because it's like the last time I saw him was on that hunt, and the last day was just the worst. There's like this snowstorm came in, and you never want to be out there when it's snowing.
No,
There's
sounds
like
horrible.
1.5 feet of snow, and all of the weeds are like matted down, so walking through it is just like miserable. And I was like, we can call it, like, we had a good trip.
But this is amazing.
And he's like, well, no, like, let's go. Like, this is great. And like our best like stretch of the trip was like that part of it. And it was just like, oh yeah, it was amazing. Like, and so that's like life in general, you can put that into perspective where it's like, well, yeah, you don't always have to know where the end is, but like enjoy the parts that suck because you're still doing it.
And I feel like you had more of a purpose in it because there was a lot wrapped up in it. And so I think in any, you're wanting to make strides in a different direction, when you know why you're doing it, it's a lot easier too, right? Doing it with a purpose rather than just, aimlessly wandering in your choices in life. Everything's going to be more hard that way.
When you have an awesome parent, then they die, there's so many routes you can take. But something that I remember Emily and I being like, Christmas Eve was our big thing with our dad. And so then it was like, okay, like we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, we have to like rise to the occasion here. We now have to be the planners. Now it's up to us. What are we going to do? What's our thing? And life gives you opportunities for you to prove who you are so often. And there are certain times where it's like you slip into certain roles, and then life provides an opportunity for you to rise up and take on the role. And you can be that now for your family. That's what you are.
Oh, for sure. Like any time that there's like a loss of something, there's two ways to go, right? Yeah. Fill the gap or ignore it. And some things you might ignore because maybe those weren't things that you really needed to do. But a lot of the times there's a gap to be filled there for sure.
Yeah. And it just, you instead of everything that you do that is now without the person, if you do those things now with a purpose of keeping them a part of your traditions and the things that you do, it just brings that much more meaning to the things, know? So again, it comes back to kind of your focus and your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing. Okay, so 7 questions to ask yourself. Ask yourself to overcome your self-limiting beliefs. 1, we already said this, so what is getting in the way of me living the life I want? Cass. Number 2.
How am I holding myself back?
3, what do I do to sabotage my progress?
What negative thoughts are keeping me stuck?
What habits do I have that are stopping me from being most productive?
What has stopped me in my tracks before?
And the last one is, what negative comment, opinion, happened or imagined I am letting stop me from taking purposeful action? So I think those are great questions to first ask yourself, because if you are not where you want to be, you are contemplating change, contemplating moving in a different direction, but can't and feel stuck. So you ask yourself these questions. Now, how do I get rid of these limiting beliefs? 1, become aware of your self-limiting beliefs. So that's what we were talking about. You have to look inward. And like you were helping me, so we did these lanterns, right? The big lanterns you set on fire and then they...
Oh, I've seen Tangled.
Yes. Yeah. We got to live out our Tangled dreams, and we released these lanterns.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And it's such a beautiful, presentation of what it was that everybody was there to do, which was to release and let go of things that have been holding them back up to this point, and just freeing that and watching that go up into the sky in the most beautiful way. And so you have to ask yourself the question.
Yeah, and get curious about where that came from. And then ask yourself, is this serving me anymore? Or is this holding me back? Is me always believing this or hiding from this or avoiding this type of behavior or conversation or pattern? Is that helping me become the person I want to be? Is that serving me?
What does Dr. Phil say? How's that working?
Do you want
it?
Right? Oh, yeah. He says, how's that working for you?
How's that working for you? Our dad used to quote that all the time.
Yeah.
But it's so true. It's like...
Well, it's like you'd be like, oh, I'm just so mad. And so then we got in this big argument about it. And we were, how's that working out for you?
Yeah.
Not working out good at all.
Exactly. So, once you recognize what they are, recognize how they're holding you back, I think that's when you can start moving forward and pushing them out of the way, because you will realize then that they were dumb. Like you were saying, the guy that said the man legs or whatever. So then you were insecure about the legs forever, when that serves you zero.
I don't
in
need
your
to
life.
cater every outfit during the blistering heat of summer around hiding my man legs.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Exactly.
I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And then what you can do is start reframing and building new beliefs. So this was something I had to really work on, because I thought that like having muscular legs or gymnast looking legs or athlete looking legs was a bad thing. So I had to start looking in the mirror and saying like, I'm grateful for legs that allow for me to do what I need to do. I'm grateful for legs that allow for me to run, that allow for me to teach fitness, that allow for me to play with my kids. Like I'm grateful for these strong legs. These strong legs have covered many miles. They've been a lot of different places.
Think of the dance moves.
Think of the moves I've done on these legs.
No, but again, it's your perspective.
Yeah.
And you can beat yourself up about that thing, or you can look at it and how does it serve you and how does it bless you? And then that's going to bring positive thoughts rather than the other. And then start doing this, and then everything boils down to consistency. This is not something that happens overnight. And yeah, we release the lanterns with the limiting beliefs on it, but that's just the beginning. Then you have to consistently tell yourself what you're capable of and how this isn't serving you, and move forward. And so many of the things that hold us back, it kind of comes down to like, we're so worried about the reason why have fear around that thing is we're worried about what other people are going to think.
Yeah.
And if we let that all go and we just do the thing that we want to do and not worry about what other people think, I mean, I think that would free most of us, you know, because most of the time you're worried, you know, okay, I'm worried to give this talk or something. Why? I mean, if you were reading it by yourself in a room, you would have no fear at all.
Yeah.
But you're worried how other people are going to take it, how, you know, their opinions on the whole thing. So a lot of times it has to do with like our surroundings and our fears of what other people think, which of course is a limiting belief right there that we all could burn to a crisp.
Burn it down. It's interesting about limiting beliefs because it's not just the act of like releasing them or being aware of them. It just takes a lot of practice.
Exactly.
It's like laundry.
Keep at it. Yeah.
Like your thoughts get kind of dirty and yucky and negative and insecure, and you got to just clean them up again and remind yourself, wait, that's weird. I used to think that about me, and now I don't think that about me. But we were lighting them up, and it was so funny because the idea was everybody was going to light them up at the same time. They had like people with like, you know,
lighters.
Yeah. And they were lighting them up.
Squirt guns. Or...
And everybody was lighting them up, and this one girl it was just getting really hot, and she's like, ha, 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 trying to like pinch it from other areas, and
people are kind of, they don't want to like ruin the mood, but they were kind of like, it's getting hot, you know, because they wanted this beautiful thing where everybody went up at the same time, but it just wasn't. But
people were like scolding her, being like, don't let it go, don't let it go. And she's like, I have to. So she finally just released it, and she goes, it's just another imagery of people let their limiting beliefs go at
we're all on our
times.
Own. We're on our own path.
Yes, we're all on our own path. Pidge, what are your thoughts about limiting beliefs? Have you had to get rid of some?
Like in my life, like over the course
Tell
of 40
us
years?
everything.
Yes.
How about over the past week? Have you had any that have bubbled up?
No, I mean I think in the last like 6 to 8 months, like I've been focusing heavily on just like removing those all the way from my life. And so like when I see one pop in, it's like pretty easy to like recognize it now. And so it's become just like a habit that like as one comes in, I address it, like tell myself what the opposite of that is, and then move on to that. And so it's been interesting because I've been very focused on it like personally in the last like probably 6 months.
I've noticed that. I feel like you read a lot of books. You're very much
in the self-improvement mode.
Yeah, I kind of always have been, but like...
Nope, it only started now.
No.
I think it was inspired by little bits of awesome. I didn't want to say anything, but...
More so, I think everybody has to find themselves, like, when they, at their time. Like
you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, like
you know?
you can't tell somebody like, hey, you should read this book and change your life. Like they need to want to change their life, and to do so,
Hear
they
it
need
and-
to read
yeah.
the book. And
It's
to do
weird
so.
because you keep telling us about this book, actually.
You're never gonna know.
I know,
Yeah.
and he's like, you guys aren't ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Pidge,
So you want us to stay in this mess of a life that we have?
you want us
until
to
you'll
get
give us this
miserable?
book?
What are the key words? What's the magic
Instead,
word?
I just give you a little Pidge perspective.
There we
Yeah.
go. I
Just
wanted to
little
say,
bits at a
though,
time.
By the time you read it, you're gonna be like, I already know all this stuff.
We've been taught
you're
this.
like, I think we wrote the book, but no, but I wanted to go back to what you said. I like how you said that you've been working on this 6 to 8 months now, and it's become easier as they come up to let them go and kind of reprogram and reshift your focus. And that's exactly kind of what we're saying here, is that it isn't easy. I mean, you have to first recognize them, and then you have to face them, you know, and see how they're holding you back. And you kind of go through this whole process. And then the more that you kind of go through this, the easier it becomes, which is how anything works, you know, and its consistency is the key. So I think these are great tools for all of us to kind of apply in our lives and to look inward, to see where we are, to see where we want to go, to see what's holding us back from our healthiest, happiest life, and then work at it, you know, day after day. I mean, that's what this life is all about. It's a process of progression, never of perfection.
No, and you're in the grind.
That's right.
Like, welcome to the grind of life. I've just been really looking at Beverly and just watching her. She's learning how to stand, and she's getting the courage, practicing like she really wants to walk, and I can see this. And yet she knows, like, she's not ready for it yet, because she'll stand up, and then she'll kind of like look at us, and then she sits down, and then she'll stand up, and then she'll like put her arms in the air, and I'll grab her little fingers, and she'll start to kind of like, she just kind of like flat foot peg leg shimmies, and then I'll be like, come on, and I'm encouraging her, and then it's just like she's in the grind still. She's not quite there yet.
Yep, one step at a time.
And I was using that illustration to my kids, like, look at how much we see Beverly fail and never give up. And it's something that we learn at whatever age it might be, that we have to unlearn, so that you are resilient as that little baby learning how to walk, where you're like, oh, I will try it again and again and again and again. And it does not matter how many times I fail, because I know this is how I'm getting stronger. This is how I'm going to be successful. Like, she knows in her that she's will
not
walk.
worried about
She's not
it.
worried about it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to see that.
I love that. Okay, well, let's close with a little bit of awesome.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is a sweet message from a listener.
Ooh.
Yeah, we love these.
We have some of those?
We do. Can you believe
Just a
it? There's
couple.
a few
Just
people
kidding.
listening.
I know exactly how many of those
Yeah,
we
you
have.
do.
Yes, we do. You
Yeah,
know
you do.
exactly the stats.
And we love when people share little bits of awesome with
Makes
us.
me
and
so happy.
It can be how, you know, the little bit of how the podcast is affecting their life for good, how they're seeing it in someone else. Like, whatever a little bit of awesome is in your life, we would love to hear it and share it. So here we go. So I am super excited for you guys and your podcast, and that it's become so successful. It has been such a joy to listen to while walking, making dinner, folding laundry. I love one episode a week, and have gone backwards now to round 2 of each. So I'm on number 14. I also incorporated the hammer it forward recommendation from you guys. That's awesome. Keeping up on theirs weekly. Yeah, applaud for hammer it forward, right?
Yep.
Okay, where are they? Okay, it gives different material that pairs so well with all the positivity I enjoy so much from Little Bits of Awesome. I'm watching for your sweatshirt merch again, because that article is my vibe.
Yeah.
I literally share your podcast with everyone, as well as send your quotes to those I love and value the very most. Gratitude is such an important aspect and attribute to me, and literally makes me everyday joy. There's a typo probably. Makes my everyday joy, no matter what, in going on in life. So I started hitting that suggestion hard again with my kids and other loved ones in my life, and need reminders that joy can be found daily.
Yeah.
I mean, so awesome. I love that she's finding things here. She's finding things with the hammers. She's applying it. and making an impact and spreading it with others, you know, because that's what we hope to do here, is that you'll listen, you'll share with other people, that it'll become more of everyone's little something, you know, to tune in once a week, you know, because the more you tune in, the more we can do this. But knowing that people are actually being affected for good is so rewarding. So thank you for sharing.
And in fact, the best way that you can show that you like us is
and
to
listen
share.
carefully.
Great segue.
Listen carefully, because if you don't, then you don't like us, apparently.
That's right. The best way
Yeah.
that you can show that you like us.
You're probably on your phone right now.
Mm-hmm.
So just, you know, scroll to that bottom.
So step 1,
So you scroll
grab your
to
phone.
the bottom,
Step 2, scroll to the bottom.
and then you can click on the dot, dot, dot.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, Pidge.
And subscribe.
There we
So
go.
If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or whatever you're listening to, subscribe. That will help us get the ratings that we need to move up, so that we can get more listeners, and we can get more people like Hella Nutrition to give us some money so that we can keep giving you free podcasts.
There we
Exactly.
go. How do they share? So that's subscribe, very important. And then you'll be like in the know and know when the new podcast drops. And I mean,